Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Herbology Hub. And we've got a special program this morning with our guest speaker, Mr. Tim Thomas. And this is part 3 of Homeopathy, where we get into some essential remedies that you really do need to have in your first aid kit and around the house. So here we are in Herbology Hub, and which stands for fostering and empowering members to be successful in their growing endeavours at whatever scale, and to create a nucleus of serious growers for key medicinal herbs, to have ongoing sustainable sources of herbs grown in Australia, and to create a new conversation model for growing medicinal herbs in Australia and the world. Okay, so this is what we're going to cover today, the scope of use of what we're talking about today. We're going to go through some of the basic homeopathic concepts, just to refresh, a little bit on dosage and frequency, and then we're going to do the 10 remedies, and then talk about your home remedy kit. And if you want to, you can jumpstart getting your own home remedy kit by buying one from the Hierophant, and we'll cover all the details of that. And you've got a discount at the Hierophant, of course, if you choose to do so.
No, this could be, it's typically it's one of the A's of the ABC of what's known as the nursery remedies. The other A would be apis, the bee sting. So A is a classic remedy for quick onset fevers in babies that normally come on around 7 p.m. in the evening, early evening. And those babies may well have just suffered just been injured. Maybe a strange concept to think about, having been injured by the wind. And it could have been just taking them from the car to the house without a bonnet on their head. My grandmother was obsessed with people keeping things on their heads, especially if they went out in the cold. That's another story, though. And the aconite is classically the beanie remedy, where you should really have a beanie on if that weather is that way. And whether they come down with an earache or with a headache or with a fever or with whatever it is, the child will be extremely restless. And as it progresses, there will be extreme fear. It's an acute remedy where something comes on quickly. Now, it could be chest pain, for instance, and the other time of aggravation is midnight. So I'll share one little story that I may have shared before, which was one of the first, when I was first studying homeopathy. One of my children at the age of, he'd have been about 4, he suddenly said to me at around 6:30, I'm not feeling well, and wanted just to lay down in my lap. And I thought, I flashed on watching him earlier in the day running in the wind with his cheeks slightly reddened. And I thought, this could be aconite. It's the right time. He was out there in the wind. And it was cold. And I gave him the aconite, and he just settled down and fell asleep. Now, I did this thing of thinking, well, I could try it, just see what, I could just, which effectively is me proving it. And I took it, and I became extremely fearful. And at its worst, aconite will actually predict that they're going to die. And so I'm shouting out to my wife at the time, who's nursing another baby, and they'd already gone to bed. Oh, come and help me. I'm frightened. I'm a grown man. I'm 30 years of age or something like that. And I was terrified that I was going to have a heart attack. I was fit and healthy and 30, but I was convinced against my better judgment. And that's the level of fear that can come with this remedy. And I saw someone the other day who I realized that's one thing that they predicted. They said, or they were talking about somebody else, that the person had predicted that that's right. I was talking. Yes, it was an elderly man with Parkinson's who suddenly started writing notes to his family saying, you know, I'm going to die, da, 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 and then said to his wife, you've got to take me to casualty. And she was sharing this with me, and I said, you've got to go get some aconite. This is the remedy. I haven't heard the result yet, but that just came up for me the other day, and I'm like, oh my God. And they went to casualty, and they just sent them home again. There's nothing wrong with you. You know, you're just fine. Anyway, so if you were to come in and through a bedroom with somebody needing aconite, it'll be the bedclothes will be all over the place. There's incredible restlessness. You know, imagine having a fear where there's restlessness, you can't settle. If you're, and then there's fevers or pains. It's an incredible pain remedy. Things that come on suddenly could be a toothache, for instance. It could have a gum abscess, and it's one of the remedies to initially think of for that. Straight away, get it in there as soon as you think, that you can feel something's quick, painful, fearful, hot, wherever it is. So lay people often just use aconite at the beginning of anything at all as a first aid remedy.
I'd like to add a story in there. Occasionally, I suffer from Meniere's episodes, which is dizziness, vertigo, and if it gets too bad, it goes to vomiting or whatever. But I can feel the onset of it. And I remember feeling it, and I got in contact with Tim. And even through my text message, Tim could pick up this worry, fear, anxiousness, intensity, and he said, aconite. And I took the aconite, it headed it off. So it's important to not worry about what the disease names are or the condition names are, but to get that anxiousness, that uneasiness, the mental aspects and the intensity of the onset, then you can use it in a whole range of situations.